So robots at the moment are incredibly repeatable and very strong and reliable. Now, the mechanics of a robot that we currently see in the industry now are, I would say, the best they've ever been. And in terms of moving on, of course, we can always make improvements, but they are at a level that is well above acceptable. Now, where robotics will move on more and more is the vision side of the robot, and not necessarily about programming a robot to do certain features and certain applications, but about the robot learning about its application and understanding that maybe a new product's coming down the line, it realises it's a different product, so then it will pick that product up or it will leave that product. So it's kind of like the artificial intelligence and the which is a separate subject really, which has to be outlined, and the learning of the robot is where we're going to see the real gains in robots in industry.
The biggest is high initial investment. I think a lot of first-time buyers of automation can be shocked by how much it can cost. And if they don't understand the ways in which that cost is regained, things like offline manufacturing times and stuff, that number can be scary to especially a lot of smaller companies. We could be talking hundreds of thousands of pounds for automated solutions, but part of what we have to do is help the customer figure out where that cost comes back to them and where they actually gain from that. There's also things like understanding how robotics impacts their entire manufacturing process. If the first thing they want to automate is halfway through the production process, a lot of the time they haven't taken into account things like manufacturing tolerances on previous processes. So we end up with parts with large tolerances coming into a system with a robot that's incredibly accurate and sometimes can't handle the difference. So when we're talking to customers, we have to say, okay, is there anything you can do to form this, or can we start at the beginning? Can we start not halfway down, but at the start of your manufacturing process, so that when we get to that point further in a couple of years' time, that it's ready for it.
So on the face of the robotics sector, it's very easy actually to overlook, and you see robots moving on the news and on TV. And I work for a company called FANUC, and being on the other side of the fence with FANUC, what we often find is that I'm going into a lot of plants and a lot of manufacturing facilities and bakeries, and it's amazing that in your everyday life, the things you drive, the things you eat, the things you wear, the things you use at work and your tools, have probably nearly all of them been influenced by a robot at some point, whether that's painting them, manufacturing them, casting them, assembling them, packaging them. And I think that for me is what's so unique and special about the robotics industry and the robotics sector within each industry is that they have an influence on your everyday life so much, but you don't always know it. I think that for me is it's really interesting.